Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Today I've got the SCCY CPX-2 Gen 3. Please don't forget to check out our website. Go to our affiliates page. You'll find discount codes for things like Mantis Axe and Core belts. Link to that cool little bore light that we use for lighting up the barrels. Use those links. It will often save you money, never will cost you any additional money, and helps the channel. Thank you. This is the latest in the evolution of the CPX series. We also have previously done a review on the Gen 2, and they've changed a few things. We like these little guns. Overall, having a good functioning, reliable, good quality, inexpensive gun. Not everybody's budget will support a $600 or $700 or $800 gun. So we like it when we come across a good quality, relatively inexpensive gun. And these SCCYs definitely fit that. They're relatively small. They're not the smallest thing on the planet. They're not as small as some of the Micro 9s that are out there. They come with two 10-round magazines, nice solid steel magazines, and they come with flush base plates. So they come with this pinky extender already attached, and then the base plates if you want to get rid of the pinky extender. I did find with this one, with the Gen 3, my pinky got pinched a little bit here. The overall design of this is similar in the prior generation, and that one didn't seem to pinch me. So I don't know if it's a slight difference with the finger grooves being gone, because that's one of the changes. You'll see there's a little bit of texture up here, but the finger grooves are gone. And the back strap no longer has that ventilated thing that would put marks on your hand. So it may just move just a hair more, or the new quad lock system may recoil slightly differently. But I did get a little bit of pinching in my pinky. So I probably would remove the pinky extenders, at least for me, and just let the pinky hang, because then there's nothing for it to bite. But you'll see with the pinky extender, it's almost a full 3-finger grip. Without the pinky extender, it would be 2 fingers and your pinky would be hanging. But these actually manage recoil quite well. They're small, they're light, so of course you're going to know you fired something, but they manage it well and they don't really beat you up or punish you, even without that cushioning system on the prior generation. They now feature a 2-slot Picatinny rail, so you can attach lights and lasers without having to worry about using trigger guard lights and lasers. They are available with a thumb safety. It would be the CPX-1. So for those that like a thumb safety, it'd be right there. I prefer not to have the thumb safety, so the CPX-2 series gives you that no thumb safety. This is chambered in 9mm, just like the CPX-1. They do have a new CPX-4 that's chambered in 380. Within the 9mm CPX series, the magazines are all interchangeable. So whether you've got the Gen 2, the CPX-1, or the CPX-2, or the Gen 3, they all use the same magazines. Of course, the 380 is going to use a different magazine because it's a different size cartridge. They now feature Glock pattern 3-dot sights. So they're really, the sights that come with it are quite nice. But if you're wanting to go, let's say, with tritium fiber optic or night sights or some other format of sights, they use Glock 43 pattern sights, which is an improvement over the prior generation where they were custom and not really well supported by the aftermarket. You can push the rear slide off just like you would a Glock, and the front sight uses the screw just like a Glock. So easy to change out the sights if you want. And one other feature in this line, now it's available in an optics ready. So they kind of squared the slide off a little bit as opposed to the prior generation, which kind of had a kind of a curved contour to it. And if you choose to get the optics ready version, there'll be a plate right here, and you can put the red dot of your choice on it. So they're catching up with the rest of the market where optics ready is becoming very popular on these little pistols. This does have a slightly different internal design because of the quad lock. The barrels, and when I get it apart, I'll show you some of the differences, or at least explain what's new on this version of it. And there's a few differences in the way the slide serrations are laid out, and of course the overall shape of the slide. Dimensionally, it's a 15-ounce gun, so it's relatively light, 6.10 inches front to back, 5.26 inches tall, and 1.1 inches thick. So it's overall fairly small. And yeah, there are smaller ones on the market now, but not significantly smaller. The trigger on these is a double action, and I did cycle it because I wanted to make sure it was clear, but it's not necessary to cycle it. A little bit of take up. Kind of a very long but relatively smooth and light. It's about a 9-pound trigger, and it breaks all the way at the back. So it is a little bit of a challenge when you're trying to do precision shooting with it, staying on target the entire time that you're going all the way back. But because it's relatively light and quite smooth, it's relatively easy to do. Now, of course, if I wanted to go again, I just go again, and the trigger is repeatable. It's the same trigger every single time. There's no pre-staging or anything else that goes on with these. As double actions go, it's light and smooth, making it a very useful double action trigger, but you do need to practice with it. By the time you've traveled that far, it's if you're not paying attention, it's kind of a little easy to turn the gun. But being that it's not super heavy, the force isn't forcing you to do that. They did change the shape of the trigger just a little bit. They made some minor tweaks and tunes as they evolved this. I would say the biggest change is the grip. Now the grip is now a little bit smaller. So it did actually seem like I felt the recoil a little bit more. Not significant, not enough to make me decide that, oh yeah, I can't use this, I gotta have the other one. But it was just a slight increase in the way the recoil felt. And I think it's just because of the way it fits in my hand being a little bit smaller than the prior grip. By the time you added that little cushiony thing and the finger grooves, the grip was overall just a little bit bigger. These do have some kind of cool, unique characteristics. One, they have a lifetime warranty. And a lot of much more expensive or considered to be higher end guns have limited 1 year, 2 year warranties, and then at the manufacturer's discretion, they may choose to take care of a problem after that. With these, it's actually a documented, stated lifetime warranty. They're available in about 20 different color combinations, including some wild colors like purple frames and pink frames and blue frames. But they're also available in more sedate color combinations, like you can get it with a black slide, you can get an FDE combination. They are unique in that they're stainless steel slides, so the slide itself is actually stainless steel. And their site doesn't specify that the barrel is stainless steel, but it sure looks like it is. Looking at the steel itself, it looks like stainless steel. So it gives me at least the appearance that the barrel is stainless, and they actually state that the slide is stainless. These are features you wouldn't expect in a gun in this price point. So what is this price point? MSRP on the one that you see here is $309, and the red dot ready is $339. So the MSRP on these is quite reasonable. Now this is the point where they have kind of crossed that $300 border with the MSRPs. Prior ones were sub $300, but it's likely you'd be able to actually find these sub $300. I bet this one's far less than the $309 MSRP that's on it. So these still fit into that inexpensive, and they've maintained that high quality territory. A couple other things before I kind of wrap up on it. They do state that it is rated for plus P, but in limited usage. 50 rounds per session or so, they say. I think really what they're focused on is you could use it for defense and you can use it enough to practice, but not with continued, sustained, continual use. So the other thing is I found it actually quite easy to shoot well, aside from the fact that I had to focus on the trigger. But overall, the sights were good and everything else. So let me take it apart and show you the internals. To take it apart, you do need some sort of tool. You can use a spent case, you can use a little cleaning tool, but you have to pop this little pin out. You even could get it with your fingernail, but you may tear up your fingernail. You pull this pin out, release it, and it just comes apart. They're bone simple. They've got very long, robust rails, very full-length rails. Here's the hammer at the back, and there's really nothing else going on in here. You pull the trigger, it pulls the hammer back. When it reaches full extension, it automatically releases and fires. So there's no pre-cocking or anything you can do with these. It's actually quite a very simple operating mechanism. Captive recoil, spring and guide rod assembly. The barrel is actually decent. Now, I'm going to say that the tooling, there are some tooling marks, and this one actually has a little chip, which is going to be almost impossible to show you on camera. So I would say that the tooling on the barrel is decent, but not spectacular. However, it didn't appear to cause any function issues. Then it's got a decent ramp. It is a semi-polished ramp. You can see some machining marks in it, but it's quite smooth. And then if you have prior version, this would have been a hoop style lug, and so that's a little different as part of that new quad lock system. We had one issue with this. We had a single fail to feed, and you just kind of gave it a little attitude adjustment on the back, and it closed up and then ran, and it just happened once in the first couple mags. So I'm just going to attribute that to break-in. I'm not going to get overly worried about that. And oddly enough, I also bought a prior generation one to do a comparison later, And that one did the exact same thing, almost at the exact same point. A single failure to feed, smack it on the back, it resumed, and then never did it again. So like a lot of these smaller guns, you may want to at least put 50 or 100 rounds through it before you throw it in your holster. I'm really not worried about short break-in periods or one-off types of things. That didn't happen again through the entire rest of the session. And then, very simple, well-machined slide. The machining is well done in here. There's a few marks, but it's overall good quality. Bone simple. There is no drop safety piston. There's the firing pin back there. So the hammer hits the firing pin, drives the firing pin forward. Now, as far as not having a drop safety mechanism, it's not my preference to omit that, but I've never heard of one of these being dropped and firing. So the design they've got with the firing pin and the recoil assembly seems to work and prevent unintended discharge, but I would actually prefer to see a regular drop safety piston. So reassembling it, you saw me put the barrel and recoil spring in. That's fairly easy to do. Slide it back together, lock it back. Now you sometimes will have a little bit of a hassle. I don't think I got the recoil spring properly lined up. You can sometimes have a little hassle with the barrel when you're trying to lock it back. Now the barrel's free floating. Basically all you do is you pull it forward and you get it where the lugs are lined up properly in this hole, and then you just drop the pin back in. So I'm going to turn it towards me so I can actually see it. Take the pin and put it back in the hole. Make sure it goes all the way flush. If it sticks out, then you haven't done it right. If you've got it right, you'll be able to close the gun and you're back in business. Easy to live with, easy to maintain, inexpensive to buy, and overall a lot of high quality features at the MSRP they're putting these things at. And as is kind of common with this category of guns, there's no ambi features on it. So all the controls are on the left-hand side set up for a right-handed shooter. But the slide stop slide release is big enough to be easy to get a hold of. So even if you were shooting it left-handed, you could get to it and operate it. It'd just be a little bit clunkier. Unlike some of them where it's a really tiny flush, almost impossible to get lever. This would actually be friendly enough. I believe that when they put the manual safety on it, the safety may be on both sides, but I don't have one to confirm that or deny that with the thumb safety. But the one without the thumb safety, there really is only one control, and it's only on the one side. Overall, if you're looking for a reasonable budget gun with good quality, see the magazines drop free, everything works well on these, then this might be a good choice for you. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, click that bell to be notified if you do. Check us out on Facebook, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, Getter, kind of everywhere. And thank you.